In this session, here is what we will cover. Now guys, let me start by showing the finished output first. Now this is an ASP.NET MVC application running on .NET 10. So let me do it on a different tab, Chrome tab, just for the sake of knowing that there's nothing cached. So I will choose the file again and click on scan, and it detected no two suspicious keys. All right. So you have noticed what happens? The app produces a structured report. It flags suspicious entries, and the important point is that it is not a chatbot UI. The AI agent is embedded behind a normal MVC workflow. A request comes in, the agent runs under constraints, and we return a deterministic result format. Now that you have seen the output, the real question is what changed from our console demo. I am talking to those of my viewers who have watched the first version of it. You can say the first version because it was very similar and the same logic is wrapped in MVC application, but this was from console to MVC. So what has changed? Now I will show a simple diagram, browser to controller to agent service to tools to result. Okay, so this looks like it. Now here I am showing a few slides just to make the point clear. So I'm requesting on the browser, and request goes to the MVC controller, and from controller it goes to the agent service. And if you go to the next slide, from the MVC controller to agent service to the tools. Okay, and then we get the result. Okay, so without going into the complexity, let me just escape. Now, what happens here is, first of all, let's revisit what happened in the console version. So in the console version, everything is linear. You run the program, it executes the agent flow, and it prints the output. Okay, so in MVC, the agent doesn't own the application anymore. The web app owns the lifecycle. The user triggers the scan with an HTTP request, and the server responds with a rendered report. Now here is the key. So what happened is that the agent did not fundamentally change. The host changed. The MVC introduces orchestration, input validation, and controlled execution boundaries. So the purpose of this video is not rebuilding the scanner logic again. It's showing how you embed a working agent into a real .NET application cleanly. All right. So let's now look at the project structure and the three main pieces: controller, agent service, and tools. So now, as you can see that I have flipped over to my Solution Explorer on my Visual Studio, and let us see the folder structure and 2-3 short code snippets. Okay, so I structured this like an SDK integration. First, the controller is thin. It only handles the HTTP workflow, upload the file, read the content, and call the agent. So let's see the controller for a second. Scan controller. Okay, so you can see the scan controller looks like this, and it just excuse me it just got a index action method, which is nothing but it is creating a view, which is it is entering a new scan request type. Okay, and this index it also passes a request and the cancellation token, and through the stream reader it opens the read stream with encoding UTF-8 and read to async the passing the cancellation token, and in the view back, it assigns the result. Okay, so agent.scanAsync, we'll see that at a higher level soon. Okay, so agent service. So this is the controller and this is the agent service. All right, so let's try to be brief. Agent service is the boundary layer. This is where we decide which tool to run, enforce timeouts. Okay, if there is any timeout, it may not be on this application, but for more complicated, there could be some timeouts also. Okay, and normalize output into a UI-friendly result model. Thirdly, the tools. There is a tools. So iAgent tool, this is the interface. This is the contract, iAgent tool, and config secret scanner tool. This config secret scanner tool, it implements the iAgent tool. So what happens? The tools are explicit registered in dependency injection. That means the agent can only choose from tools we allowed. It cannot invent tools, it cannot execute arbitrary code, and it cannot reach outside the boundaries we define. This is the exact difference between a safe agentic pattern and a demo that lets the model do everything. So in the next part, in the next section, soon to follow, I will show the minimal code in each layer and exactly how the pieces connect. Okay, so let's see the agent service file. Now let's talk about what makes this pattern agentic. An agent system typically has three characteristics. It receives a goal, it selects a capability, and it executes that capability and interprets the results. So in our case, the goal is scan this JSON appsettings.config file for potential secrets. The capability is implemented as a tool. In this case, config secret scanner tool. So this is the config secret scanner tool that briefly I mentioned. Okay. Now the agent doesn't scan the JSON itself. It chooses which tool should handle the request. Now there is a constructor injection over here. Notice that the agent receives IEnumerable iAgent tool. So IEnumerable iAgent tool. Now that means the tools are registered and injected through dependency injection, which is very important to understand. So the agent cannot invent tools. It cannot execute arbitrary logic. It can only choose from tools we explicitly registered. Now that creates the bounded autonomy. Now agentic doesn't mean uncontrolled. It means constrained autonomy within explicit boundaries. So the flow is, now let's draw a diagram again. So here is a drawing. Now you can see the flow is input arrives, agent evaluates, then agent selects tool, and then the tool executes and it returns the structured result. Now this is a controlled agent loop. So let us see the flow. The flow diagram is input arrives, agent evaluates, agent selects the tool, tool executes, and it returns a structured result. So this is a controlled agent loop. Okay. Now let's go back to our Visual Studio Code. Now we are still inside the agent service. All right. Now let's look at the guardrails. A real agent system must never run without constraints. Now let us see. This is the cancellation token CT. So now we pass a cancellation token from the controller into the agent and into the tool. That means if the user disconnects, the operation stops. Now is there is timeout logic. Here we don't have a timeout logic. We also enforce a timeout using cancel after. And depending upon the case, it's not the case in this that I can find. This prevents runaway execution. In production system, unbounded execution is dangerous. You can consume CPU, you can consume memory, you can incur API cost, or you can block request threads. Guardrails are what separate a toy demo from production-ready architecture. The allow list of tools is also a guardrail. The agent cannot execute anything outside the registered tool set, which is critical for security. Now, let's see the controller once more. Scan controller. All right, let's step back and ask, why embed this inside MVC at all? This is because most real enterprise systems are not standalone agents. They are web applications or APIs or services that need structured integration. Now, pointing to this controller, scan controller, all I need to say is that the controller remains thin. It accepts the HTTP request. It delegates the request to the agent. It renders the result to the browser back. The controller doesn't contain the scanning logic. Now, if you mix AI logic inside controllers, you create tight coupling and technical debt. So MVC gives us separation of concern, dependency injection, structural life cycle, and testability. So that makes it a good host for agent-style orchestration. So MVC controls when the agent runs, the agent selects tools, the tools execute deterministic logic. Okay. So let me summarize what we built. The first one is a clean separation between controller, agent, and tool. 2. Bounded autonomy via dependency injection. 3 is recursive JSON scanning. 4th is async execution with cancellation support. And the 5th is extension ready architecture. And from here, we could extend this pattern by adding more tools, adding severity scoring, adding entropy-based detection, integrating LLM reasoning, and adding logging and metrics. But the important takeaway is architecture, not feature count. This is how you embed an agent patterns safely inside traditional web applications. Now, if you found this architectural walkthrough useful, let me know. I can expand this into a deeper multi-tool agent services. Thank you very much for attending this session.